What's up, guys? Welcome back to the That's Sowdev podcast. My name is Dev. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. We got some tea to get into today. Now, before we get into the tea, make sure you go ahead and follow me at That's Sowdev on Twitter, Instagram, and literally everywhere else. Okay, we have some things to get into, but first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and say this now, because us podcasters who have been on Spotify for podcasters, which essentially is distributing podcasts for us, we've been using it for years, and they've decided to change things significantly to where everything we've ever known about the app is simply just no longer a thing. So we have to find our own ways of creating, editing, crafting, all of those. We have to figure that out now. The platform that we've been using for years essentially has just become an upload platform. You upload the files, you post it, that's it. So we've had to shift a lot of things. So for some people, I have noticed sound quality issues. I've noticed some people not having video podcasts or whatever. Just give some podcasters a bit more patience, especially as they are going through this transition. Not even just me, but several others. I just want to go ahead and address that first and foremost now. Moving on. So I want to discuss Dopamine by Normani. And I wanted to sit on it, for a while. And it's been essentially 2 months at this point. Maybe just like a week and a half shy of it, but I'm rounding it up. So we're looking at about 2 months. And, I love the album. I'm going to start off by saying that. I love the album. Period. I've listened to it on repeat. I've done nothing but just bask myself in the music. Every song is at the top of my most played stream songs of the year. So without a doubt, I'm listening to this album on a regular basis. When I tell you I listened to the album from when it came out here at 9 p.m. and I woke up the next morning and it was still playing. I'm not joking. So I was just sitting there, listening to that album for hours, taking it in, soaking it in. It felt like I was soaking in every moment that we had missed over the last 5 years. And, I want to get into some things about the album. I think that everybody has their opinions, obviously, on how the rollout of the album should be going. Makes sense, right? But at this point, I don't know that I care anymore, which is a really sad thing. I don't care. I actually don't care about anything in regards to the album anymore. It has just come to a point where I'm like, they're not going to move. They're not moving. They're not doing anything right now. Like, it's best to just shift my focus elsewhere. But I'm going to come back to the whole album promotion thing. But for now, I briefly want to discuss how I feel about the album in itself. So, let me go ahead and start there. Now, I'm going to go down the list first of all. Big Boy, I love Big Boy down. I don't stream it as much as I did when the album first dropped. Look, what's after Big Boy? We have Still. So, Still, I'm running that bitch through the ground. Big Boy goes crazy. But I feel like with Big Boy, if we had some matching of energy, if we would have seen some sort of hypeness or excitedness or something to really keep the energy of Big Boy going, I think that it probably would be something that has stuck in my head even more. It's not a skip to me, but there are songs behind it that I'm going to want to get to before I get to Big Boy. But it's the first track, which is the issue. So, for example, my top 5 songs, obviously it's going to be 159 and Candy Paint, right? But we have All Yours, Still, maybe Lights On. But Big Boy, the number 1 song, is not in the top 5. It's probably about number 7. And that's because the songs behind it, I'm streaming more. So, Big Boy I really did definitely enjoy. I totally give Big Boy I would give it an 8.5 out of 10, to be honest with you. Genuinely, I would. So Still, I run that bitch into the ground. I can't help it. It's just the ultimate, it's such a vibe. You know what I mean? It could be circumstantial for you, but for me, anytime that it comes on, I'm like, you want to know what? It's time to spark up some Mary and just get into the motherfucking vibe. That is just what I feel when the song comes on. I feel like a bad bitch. I feel like I'm with my bitches. We just having a good time. That's what it is. So I'm going to give Still. I want to talk a bit more about Still. The rating I would give it's definitely giving an 8.5 type T, to be honest with you, but maybe an 8.9. I'm not going to say a full 9, but it's definitely not giving 8.5. It's definitely in between that range, and it's definitely a higher rating than Big Boy. Now there are some inconsistencies with it. Now I've noticed that they obviously have re-uploaded some things on the songs. It originally said car swinging like a cup of bling. Now it says car swinging like some double D's, and that doesn't really fit it. I don't think it throws it off for me, actually. Could it be because I'm used to the original? Yes. But could it also be because it naturally just doesn't necessarily fit? Yes. I think both exist in this context. So it's just okay, actually, let me I'm gonna get into this, and I didn't want to get into this now because there's an inconsistency of theme. And when I listen to Still, she says something along the lines, I got some of the realest niggas and the baddest women with me. You know what I mean? And I the realest niggas and baddest women, it get in my head, I'm thinking baddest bitches. I got the realest niggas and baddest bitches with me. You know what I mean? It just flows off the tip of the tongue too, especially. But I'm like, you want to know what? Maybe in the sense that she does not want to call women bitches or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's originally that's what I'm thinking in my head. But then, and I'm gonna get this to a bit later, where we're on the song Grip, right? And I got some bad bitches with me. So it's just kind of an inconsistency of message to me, because I hear on Still baddest women, and I feel like that's playing it safe a bit more, because I know if Normani's walking around, she's with the baddest bitches, and she knows that. So we get that on Grip, but we don't get it on Still, and there's just some inconsistencies of that I personally don't like, and that throws it off for me personally. But I do enjoy Still. Anywho, moving on. So we have All Yours. I actually have no notes. I don't. I have no notes. However, actually I do. So once we come out of the bridge, there's half a second or something of when she says all mine, and then it goes back into the chorus. The transition from the end of the bridge where she says all mine back into the girl, that is such an awkward half second to a second type. I don't know, that space right there, it just feels a little awkward in there. But All Yours is such a fantastic song. Aside from that, a bitch really doesn't have any notes. Genuinely, I'm serious. Obviously that needs to be the next single. I feel like at this point that's probably going to be the song that revives the era if they actually choose to invest in it, but we're going to get to promotion and stuff later on the back end. Anyway, so All Yours, I'm definitely giving All Yours, to me, it's giving 9.5. But because of that little note that I have, it can't be a 10 out of 10 for me. It just does, like, it doesn't feel naturally 10 out of 10 in my soul, but every other part does. It's just so wonderful. But that one part right there, it's just like, yeah. So Beautiful with All Yours. We've got number 4, which is, and mind you, I'm going off the top of my head with this list. So after All Yours would be what? Lights On, right? So, okay, Lights On, let me just say this now, okay? Lights On is that bitch. No, you gotta hear me. Lights On is that bitch. That fucking bitch. That's a 10 out of 10. That's a 10 out of 10. I have not a single motherfucking note for that except for Normani, Serve Me More. Serve me more. Serve me more. Lights On is the first song that I feel like that I truly get Normani basking in the aspect of singing. Obviously she has to sing, she's a singer, this is an album, we do hear singing, generally speaking, but in the sense of, like I said, Lights On, we don't really entirely get that in the album. We get that on the 4th song. I feel like All Yours, obviously she is singing on the track, but as far as really diving into that, not really. There aren't too many aspects challenging in All Yours. And no, not every song has to be challenging, blah, 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 blah. It's not even that it has to be challenging, but a bit more complex, a bit more aspects of singing into it. But Lights On definitely was serving everything that I needed it to serve. It definitely touched several places of Normani's range and abilities that I wanted to see from her. And she definitely tapped into her Janet bag with this and Take My Time. So I'm definitely giving Lights On a 10 out of 10. But like as we transition into Take My Time, both of those feel like sisters to me. And, you know, Take My Time, I honestly love that song. And I'm going to give Take My Time probably like an 8.5, I'm going to say, to be honest with you. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I love the entire feeling of it. I love how, first of all, a lot of these songs have such a, what's the word that I'm thinking of? More like an old time feeling. I can't exactly get the specific word out, but y'all know exactly what I'm thinking of. Nostalgia. That's what I mean. Hey, we got it. The light turned on in the fucking brain. But like, it's really giving these nostalgic type sounds, but definitely modernized and morphed into a way where it's Normani's own type narrative. And I absolutely love that. Take My Time and Lights On, again, beautiful. Lights On, 10 out of 10. Take My Time, 8.5. I don't really have any notes. Most of the things that I'm gonna say may be like, you know, the overall album and the sequencing of things, and, you know, the transitions between songs, they don't exactly sound the best. Like some of them, I think that a lot of the endings of the songs sound clean, and maybe too clean to where it's awkward when it goes into the next song. Because I'm just thinking about Take My Time. Yep, it's listen to it in the transition behind it. I think I just feel a little bit too awkward. And, you know, I was literally, bitch, you don't have a shower concert down every motherfucking day to Dopamine. So like when I hear a lot of those transitions, I personally feel it in my body, how weird it kind of feels. You know what I mean? I just feel like I wish that things had better transitions, definitely after Take My Time. But okay, so what's after Take My Time? I absolutely do not remember what comes after Take My Time. Take My Time's number 5, but is not Insomnia number 6? I think so. So Insomnia, which I love. Okay, so Insomnia, I think, is her most intricate song sonically, because it uses so many aspects of the beats and the voice. I just feel like it's very well engineered and very well crafted. It's such a wonderful song. I love it. I can tell that it's one of those songs from 2018, which is perfectly fine, because when you think about it, what came from out of 2018? Love Lies, Waves, Insomnia, are you kidding me? These are songs that she had in 2018 when Fifth Harmony just ended. That's actually insane to me, and that's wonderful, truthfully. But I definitely love that she was able to put this on the album and really modernize this up a bit to where it felt her narrative now for Dopamine. And I don't really have any notes on Insomnia. I think that Insomnia is a fantastic song for me personally. The rating that I would give it would definitely be a 9.5, and I'm giving it a 9.5 and not a 10 out of 10, mainly just because Insomnia is not my favorite song. The rating is more of my personal taste, more so than the song itself. The song itself is a 10 out of 10 to me, but like, that's just my personal rating of a 9.5 because I love it, but I'm not going to the album to play Insomnia. That's the T. Now, what is number 7? So number 7 is 159. Okay. I'm not against it. Now, let me tell you something. I don't know why I said I'm not against it, because 159 is actually probably one of my top songs off the album. It's my number 1 most streamed song of the year, and I know that All Yours is gonna catch its neck, but I don't know. 159 just gives me this encaptured feeling that is quite literally insane. I just emotionally connect to it, and it moves me emotionally. It moves the soul for a bitch. So whenever the song comes on, I just get chills. I get lost in it. The only time, and this is the most hilarious shit ever, because obviously we back to shower concerts, right, bitch? So I'm doing my own little shower concert or whatever, and every time that Gunna's verse come on, I like go into a different universe, and when it ends, I come back to when Normani comes back in. I just drift off. His verse did nothing for the song. It didn't hurt it. It didn't make it any better. It's just there. That's all. Like, and that's no hate. It's really not. I just don't feel like the song needed him. I feel like there could have been other people potentially to heighten the song. I'm sorry that I know it's not just me. I've had several conversations with people, so it's not just me. But the funny thing that I've noticed about all of us who are nation specifically, we were like, okay, whatever. We're not really making a big deal out of him being on the song because, again, there's no impact. Like, it's not bad and it's not great. It's not ruining the song for me. It's literally just there. So, whatever. Anywho, look. What is 159 in a rating sense? I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give 159 a 9 out of 10. I just love it. Emotionally, it moves me. Like I said a billion times already, like just the lyrics of it, especially when you get to the end. Oh my god, I'd just be so like, I'm singing my fucking heart out to the man I don't have, bitch. Anyhow, so where are we at? We're at 159. Are we at grip right now? I think is it? I'm not really sure. So what comes after 159? I'm not sure. I think it might be distance, right? Anyway, let's say it's distance, right? So we went from 159 to distance. I felt like they could have done something much easier to transition from that song into distance. The transitions just seem so clean cut. We couldn't have, you know what I mean? Like, we need, the transitions bug me so much. That is probably one of the most things about this album that bug me. The transitions. I don't like them. And I think that we have to question some of the sequencing. And maybe the sequencing wouldn't seem so bad if it were for the transitions. it would make going into certain albums make sense, because the topics of the songs, sure, in a row they make sense, but like more than just the topics have to make sense when it comes to the album. So I don't know, I guess I'm just curious as to why more time wasn't put into curating the album to being more of transitions. I don't know. Obviously we know Starrah and Tommy were both executive producers on this album. This isn't Tommy's first time being the executive producer, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I know his work to be very quality. So I'm just, and again, I'm not saying that in the sense of this is bad. I'm just kind of shocked that that isn't a priority in regards to the album, especially an album that has taken several years. Again, that's just me. Hello. But, you know, anyway, Distance, I'm going to give Distance an 8 out of 10. Distance is actually the first song that I connected to, actually. So I will always have a special place for Distance. I think that that's a deep cut. I think that that mirrors my life and several other people. It's a very relatable song. I think that it's simple. It's straight to the point. It definitely has that singing on it as well. And one thing I wish more than anything was that Normani showcased her whistle register. She doesn't have to be Mariah Carey all over every fucking track on this album, but having the whistle register hid behind her vocals on 159, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so we're probably going to get a little more of a taste of those whistle notes, and we just didn't, and that was a little disappointing. But, you know, more albums to come, hopefully not 5 years in between. But anyway, so Distance, we're gonna give an 8 out of 10 or whatever. We have, I think Candy Paint is after Distance, and let's talk about Candy Paint, because I don't feel like we talk about Candy Paint enough. Candy Paint is, it's an irresistible bop of potential that has been let go. First of all, we've been waiting on Candy Paint for 3 years, and what the Candy Paint we got before the album was very empty. It was very empty. The tempo seemed slowed. It wasn't what we knew it to be. And it wasn't like we hadn't heard it. We had heard it. It got leaked. It did, from the party directly. So it didn't get leaked and we heard some sped up version on the internet or something. We've heard the song already. And maybe they had to change the frequency or something. You know what I mean? But like, it's not like there was an investment in the album or the song to where it would have mattered. Anyway, I thought that the tempo seemed slowed down. I wish that it was a bit more sped up. Whatever. But it was missing a lot of juice on that song. When we got the album, they obviously added a bit more juice to it, and I think that that made it significantly better. It made it feel less empty. They filled the song up, but there's always going to be that aspect of it not being what we knew it to be. That's always going to be there. And I think that that could have been overlooked if they had invested in the song, but they didn't. The video's still on her phone for whatever reason, almost 2 months later. The VMAs are coming up. They're already getting their nominations together. So I fear my sister probably won't even get a nomination. I don't know. Will she? We'll find out. Anywho, I'm going to move on from Candy Paint because every time I bring up the name, I get pissed because where is the fucking video? Moving on. Now, Grip. What a beautiful song. Grip's a 10 out of 10. Without a doubt. Without a question. Grip, yep. Sample, so creative. That is so fucking creative. Having a song called Grip and then sampling the G.I. Joe Grip? Are you kidding me? Yeah, ate that down. Every part of that song is so phenomenal to me, and this is another song that tells me Normani has found her sound. Definitely. Especially with this one too. When I hear songs like Lights On and Take My Time, even Big Boy, like this whole album is Normani finding her sound, and it fits her and it's lovely. So Grip, 10 out of 10. Honestly, no notes. But I will say that the transition from Candy Paint into Grip is phenomenal. And I think it's mainly because of the sample. Because Candy Paint, it goes dump, 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 dump. Here's G.I. Joe with Kung Fu, boom, boom, boom. Like, that's nice. I don't think that was curated to be that way per se. I think it kind of just worked out that way. Just saying, genuinely. Because the rest of the album transitions tell me. Because why would they focus here but not on the other ones? Anyway, Grip. I'm obsessed with Grip. I really, truly am. Now, what do we have after Grip? I believe we just have 3 songs left, right? After that, I surely hope so, girl, because I don't have the list in front of my face. I'm just going off the top of my head. Anywho, so here we are after Grip. We are now at Tantrum. And Tantrum is my favorite song off the album. 10 out of 10. It's Normani's best song and the best work that she has ever done. I am not debating that, and I'm just gonna listen to your fucking... Listen to the goddamn song! Hell no! That bitch is phenomenal. She ate that the fuck up. I am so serious. That song moves me off of this planet. No, bitch, I go to Mars, actually. I actually go to fucking Mars. I actually have fucking proof of it, too. I'm just saying. It's just the way that, first of all, when James comes on that song, it takes it into a different direction. And just the way that Normani executes some of her vocals in a way that just feels so out of this world, and all of it just feels like I'm going on a trip to space, or I'm on the moon, and I'm jumping on rocks and I'm floating, and like, bitch, like, the song is just phenomenal. 10 out of 10. No notes on it whatsoever. Okay? At all. Now, Little Secrets. Okay, that's totally a movie song, and it's like, Little Secrets is not a bad song, but I'm not going to the album to play it, and I don't know if I'm sticking around to listen to it. But like, if it's on my Alexa, I'm not going to tell Alexa to skip the song. So, and Wild Side is after it, so I would have a reason to skip it. Just saying. Anywho, I'm going to give Little Secrets a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, but it's definitely given movie theatrics, and I think it's perfect for things like if you want to use a post that's supposed to have a lot of energy with it on social media, that's perfect for you to do. Like, there's a lot of things that song can be used for commercially. Genuinely. And I would invest in it just because of that shit. I'm just saying. That could definitely be somebody's end credits. Well, that could be the intro. Shit, that could be a race car track thing. Like, I don't know. Get creative. Hell. Anyway, and obviously we know Wild Side is a 10 out of 10. There's no question about that. Wild Side is that bitch, and Wild Side would always be that bitch, and Wild Side kicked this bitch off. Anyway, so overall, I'm definitely giving the album an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to give the album an 8.5 out of 10. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's wonderful. That's fantastic. Genuinely. And, I've come across a lot of people who did not care too much for the album, didn't love it too much, which is fine. Everybody has their opinions. Everybody feels different ways about different things. Music is subjective. I think that communicating why you don't like it, or if you don't feel the need to explain yourself because you don't, delivering the message of you not loving it in a certain way matters. You don't have to be shady about it. You don't have to be nasty about it. None of that stuff. Hello? You don't. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get. There's been several nations where we've had just simple conversations and things are not that deep. It's really not. But you can't always say things on the TL because a bitch is probably going to take it outside of your little bubble, and then next thing you know, you're a hater. You hate everybody. Whatever. Okay, that's fine. Take it and run. At this point, I don't care. Anywho, so overall, 8.5 out of 10. I'm just saying. And it's those transitions, the inconsistency of the message for me. Like, it's just, when you put all of it together, it's just like, we've waited so long for an album and for the album to be curated that I guess I just thought some of the little things they would have considered. Like, I have to know why they removed. And here's, you got to think of where this stems from. My question was, why would they remove Cars Swinging Like a Cup of Lean? I get why they would. Now, the root of that is, why was it on the album in the first place if that did not align with the message she wanted to send? There is an inconsistency of message on the album as well. And, we've heard her say for the longest time, soon she wants to make the most perfect body of work that she possibly could. Like, there was such an importance put on the fact that she wanted to take her time to really create this album. And when I get it, I get the idea that she wanted to experience life and experiences to create the best music that she can, because when you really go through shit, you really do create the best work. And it's just kind of like, well, I don't know, like, in a way, this almost seems rushed. In ways, it seems rushed. Which is a question mark to me because of how much we waited. And I know everything in between, but it's not like we waited 2-3 years. We've waited about 5 years. So during those 5 years, we weren't, focused on creating a body of work that flows. I'm questioning, I'm asking, I have to know. Because after all of these years waiting for an album, and the transitions on the album is in question, or the sequencing of the album is in question, I just have to wonder, was it a budget issue for us not focusing on the transitions? Because us going back to the album and re-uploading it, which I'm glad that, Lydia's keeping up with the proper tracking numbers to be able to go back and do that. That is a good manager. I'm just really confused on the whole thing, because why did we have to do that in the first place? It's giving that the song went off of streaming services and got put back on. It's kind of giving old management tease in a way. Everything that's going on right now is giving old management tease, and we defended down for a whole month. Lydia was in charge of Hot Pink era, and she's gonna be pushing it, and blah 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 blah. Hot Pink sessions came a year after, and blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. Still, even with that, there still was several commercial and mainstream pushes of the album and songs. I don't know what's going on. Is it somebody at RCA that doesn't want to see Normani win? What is happening? Because the roadblocks, and Lauren spoke about the roadblocks that she sees all the time, and so does Normani. Who is behind the scenes impacting these girls' careers? Is there somebody like, nope. Does somebody have it out for the Fifth Harmony girls? I don't know. The fuck am I supposed to think at this point? Because even switching managements, it doesn't seem like things are much better. It seems like things may be better for Mani personally, and the biggest thing for Mani was finding a team that she feels comfortable with. But the whole time that she was with her last team, we're out here screaming, as nice and as comfortable at the time that you had been with these people, we're seeing that they're not investing in you in the way that you need to be invested in. They're not getting the job done for you. And we noticed that there was, people were being loyal to certain people who weren't helping them go to the places that they needed to be in. So will Lydia do that for her? Time will tell. After time tells us, then I will react. But as of right now, I'm going to withhold that. Lydia's track record shows that she can make things happen. However, right now things aren't happening. So I don't know what they expect us to do with that. There's and here's where we got to go back to, because we do have the fan listening party. What a wonderful thing to invest in. That was beautiful. I'm so grateful. We are all so grateful. Like, we couldn't imagine anything like that happening. We just simply blessed at the end of the day to have somebody like Normani do something like that to thank us for everything. Because a lot of us, we picked our shit up the night before. Literally, we got told the night before, and bitches was there the next day, driving, flying, bitch walking probably. Who the fuck knows? You know? So, it's just kind of like, with that, like, can we be critical? Because I'm noticing that some people, after being there, they're like, we're so grateful for this, for what she has done in this space, right? And on the other hand, it's kind of like, well, there's no investment in your fans, right? Well, what's going to happen when we come across situations like this where a label says, fuck you? Nobody wants to invest or whatever, or doors are closed or blah, 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 blah. And I know nobody wants to hear this, but guess what? That's why Nicki Minaj has the barbs. That's why the barbs are the way they are. That's why the barbs can do what they can do. Her investing in a ground base of support has given her the backup and the security that she needs, to where even if nobody wants to look her way, it doesn't matter. That shit do not matter. Well, you have to invest in your supporters. There are several people who could not make it to that party. So you're going to have several people who are out there who feel like that they're a cash grab. And I've mentioned this several times. They do feel like they're a cash grab, essentially. And that is unfortunate. Girl, something's going to have to be done. Unless they don't care, and I know it's not that they don't care, but I know that Normani wants to be a great in this industry. Normani has captured lightning in the bottle several times, and it hardly happens once for people. But lightning in a bottle has happened several times in her career, not only in the group, but as a solo artist. And it's going to be hard to capture that lightning again. We have to be honest about it. It's going to take a lot of work. For example, and I tell people this all the time, Dinah Jane's career could have taken a completely different turn if Heard It All Before was her debut single. But it was bottled up. And that gave a lot of confusion to people, because she wanted it to be some sort of transition from Fifth Harmony into her solo career. But people don't want to physically see the transition. They don't want to see the physical transition, because when I look at Work From Home, and then I look at Heard It All Before, and then I hear Bottled Up, which is in between, that's really no in between. It's still like you're in the same vein as Fifth Harmony, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't match the aesthetic of Dinah Jane. And it never has, and it never did. And nobody wanted a repeat of it. So it put her in a hole. And now she has to work 10 times harder to get out of it, so people can see the talent that she has. And I fear that Normani not taking advantage of her getting lightning in a bottle several times, sometimes that doesn't happen for any artist at all. Her not taking advantage of those moments have put her in a hole to where she's going to have to work 10 times harder to get out of that hole. That's unfortunate, but yes. This is why you often see a lot of artists who people may say sold their soul, but in reality they played an industry game to get where they wanted to be, to be able to do whatever they want to do. Genuinely. Sometimes that does have to happen. But we are in an era where artists are saying no. So we're seeing a lot of those artists be swept under the rug because they're saying no. Which is, you can't call that a bad thing. That they're saying no, they want to protect their peace and blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's the expectation that a lot of these artists want to be massive. But unfortunately, don't actually want to put in that work. That's so sad to say. And I don't think that makes people necessarily lazy. I don't think that that's one and the same, because it is a lot of work to do. But that stuff has to be done. And I tell people all the time, it's like, look, labels are very nasty. The industry is very, very nasty. But if you look at the way that they structure these artists in their careers, look what it does. Look how Epic and Maverick Management had Fifth Harmony structured, and look what it did. Miss Moving On, Boss, Sledgehammer, Worth It, Work From Home, All in My Head, That's My Girl, Down. The consistency. What did the consistency do? Look at fucking 2016, from that consistency of 2013 on up until 2016. That is why they structure them, to do what needs to be done. Fifth Harmony did play the industry game. And they essentially got to write that last album in whatever context. You know what I mean? And I don't know that they would have been so easily let off into their solo careers had it not been for that era. They fought for their ability to write and to have creative control. Do you think that would have happened if they didn't play that industry game? Not that they necessarily had a choice. They came from a reality show, a competition show. No, they didn't necessarily have that choice like most people do. Most people go into a record label with themselves and representation, and they kind of get that decision for themselves. But these girls needed their dreams to come true together. It's their only option. So it is like a double-edged sword, to be honest with you. It's like, okay, these industries, they're bleeding these artists dry. At the same time, their methods seem to work. And in another aspect, artists don't care that their methods seem to work. But those same artists don't become massive. Unfortunately, if you want to become a great, you're going to have to pander to the game a little bit. You are. And when people don't, you see what happens. Lauren went independent. They wanted her to play the game. From the jump, she didn't want to play the game. They didn't have the same vision at Columbia, so they parted ways. Well, and everybody knows how her talent is. They want to see her songs go mainstream. Lauren even wants her songs to be streamed, but Lauren doesn't do anything to invest in her music getting out there. It's not just gonna drop and go off the charts. Look how long it's taken Tinashe as an independent artist to just get a Hot 100 hit again. Over a decade of a solo. Like, I mean, come on. That shit takes a lot of work. So, you know, I don't know where Normani is going to go in this industry. I don't know where her spaces have been severed and her connections have been severed. I can no longer feel the trajectory of her career anymore. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if she will see a top 10 record for sure. I don't know that. After her last management, she has been put in a serious hole. At this point, in order for her to get some sort of hit right now, is going to take an investment. Dropping a Candy Paint video isn't going to make Candy Paint chart again. It's not. At this point, I am afraid that she's going to need a new era to remake noise again. Which sucks because we're still stuck in the dopamine era because we're still waiting for content. Any sort of content. We've got nothing. We got teaser videos for videos that never came. That's insane. What was the point of the teaser videos? I'd rather you had not teased anything. Was it to create hype for the album because they didn't invest in the album? Like, literally, what was the point? We should have just got an album date and just dropped the I was about to say just give us an album date, drop the shit and go, but that's exactly what they did, so whatever. Like, shit. I mean, come on. I have gotten to a point to where I don't care anymore. I care in the sense that I want to see it. Am I checking for it? No. Am I checking for her right now? No. Absolutely not. And I'm so glad that she's taking care of herself. She's at hotels in New York, you know. My bitch has become an influencer at this point. She has become an influencer, and you know, it is what it is. I can't do anything about that shit. Not one thing. Not even no links posted on the story of the music, nothing. It's just like the album came and the album went, and it was like whatever. What is giving, everything is giving messy, and it doesn't make me excited for another album. I'll be waiting for it. I'm here till the wheels turn, you know, till the wheels go off. But like, I have been a fan of people before Normani. I have. I've been standing Normani, I've been standing Miley Cyrus since 2006, Nicki Minaj since 2008. Like, I have been stans of people before Normani, and after this era, I'm still gonna be stans of other people. So like, whether this era goes, there's no longer an investment in Normani. What do we have to invest in? It's literally like she doesn't exist sometimes. And that's crazy to me. And I don't think people understand, you know, Fifth Harmony stands. If you came from Fifth Harmony as a fan, you must be in hell. We all are. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Because we went from having so much content on a regular basis to having nothing. And I mean nothing. Not even on a regular basis for years in a row, nothing. Ali was giving nothing. Dinah was giving nothing. Normani's giving nothing. Lauren's giving nothing. What is Camila giving? Camila's giving content, but it's given overshadowed by the fact that she was racist during the group. So her fans not knowing peace, thank God for them. They don't need peace for that shit. But anyway, like, it's giving very fucking nasty. We have nothing. At this point, no. I don't give a fuck what people got to say about the fucking group. Open that door back the fuck up. Open that door up. Get your full creative control at this fucking point and do something. Y'all are not doing anything. And no, I don't think y'all are lazy. I don't. But I don't know that they're willing to compromise in any sort of way to make some things happen. Well, Normani compromised on motivation. Look what happened. She got to do that video exactly how she wanted to do it, and the song went ballistic. Debuting number 33, solo, all on her own. Debuting top 14 on pop radio. Literally within like a week. Normani has so much power under her belt to where when she drops something, it can go crazy. If they want any of these songs to pop off, it now has to be a new version of it with a video. Whatever the remix is with, it's gonna have to be somebody who carries weight, because we're in a hole, and I don't know how she's gonna get out of it, but I know we're gonna see. Until then, y'all, I will just be minding my business in investing my time elsewhere. Anywho, that's all I really have to say after 50 minutes. No, but I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much, seriously, for tuning into this podcast. That's Sowdev podcast, where you stay true and you stay you, boo. Love that for you. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on all social media platforms at That's Sowdev on Twitter, Instagram, literally everywhere else. If you're streaming on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, because y'all know I'm going to be back, okay? Now, nation, take a deep breath. We're going to get through this, and we're going to see what's next, one day at a time, all right? Drink some water, eat some good food, and I will see you guys on the next podcast. All right? Peace.